Right, continuing the discussion of social cognition. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is something called social categorization. And you probably know what categorization is. You put things into categories. Like if somebody handed you a bunch of fresh produce and they said, hey, sort these into fruits and vegetables. You have categories that you can place those things into. And well, we also do this with people. In social situations, we categorize people. Young people, old people, teachers and professors versus students, or who you think are in those roles. We do this as a way of sort of simplifying the world and help us with our social functioning. And so we group people or things according to certain characteristics. And it can be a wide variety of characteristics. This can also play into once you put somebody in a category, you might start relying on stereotypes as a sort of heuristic that helps you think perhaps that you understand something about that individual because of their perceived category. Now, another thing that is relevant is something called implicit personality theories. Now, that word implicit, it's not so obvious. It's internal. You might not even be aware that you have these. Personality, that's features of people that give us their individual differences in their behavior. And then theories, what we think. What are our assumptions? What's our framework for understanding people? Implicit personality theories are assumptions. It's a set of assumptions that you make about the relationship between certain personality traits and the influence they have on an individual's behavior. All right, so you make assumptions about somebody's personality. You make assumptions about how you can expect them to behave based on what you think about them. You might have somebody categorized in your head as a good person or a bad person, a nice person, a helpful person versus a rude person. You might have somebody categorized in your head as someone who knows a lot about something. And you may or may not be accurate in these assumptions that you make. All right, but we do this. We do this quick, intuitive type of thinking to try to make sense of a complex world. And so with these assumptions that we make, you can meet somebody, and based on their characteristics, you can have expectations for their behavior. And if they act against your expectations, you can be surprised. All right, so you can make assumptions where if you see someone very smartly dressed and behaving in a way where they use like big words and they hold themselves with confidence, you might think that's an intelligent person. That's someone who has their act together. They may not actually be that intelligent, but you make that assumption based on these clues that are readily available to you. One thing that I've heard from some of my students will have an accent that they will be perceived as having a Southern accent or a Louisiana accent, Cajun accent. We got lots of accents around here. And so sometimes students will share stories with me about people making assumptions about them based on their accent. Like they will be surprised, especially if they're not from around here. They will be surprised where this person shows that they are intelligent, that they know their stuff. It's like, well, why would you think I didn't? And then it becomes clear they made assumptions based on what they could hear, based on their preconceived notions, their assumptions, their categorization of this person, based on those assumptions. All right, so we do this. We do this a lot. We make assumptions about people, and we do this to simplify the world, but sometimes it can lead to errors.